Ilia El Matador Topuria, aka the Professor. Guys, the more I learn about Ilia Topuria, the more I become. Well, let me not say a fan, because I'm a fan of the fighting style, but him, obviously, I don't know him personally, but the way he carries himself, I'm not the biggest fan of him. But yeah, when it comes to the fighting, I do like him. And you know what people need to understand? Mixed martial arts is a form of art. So you need to be able to separate the artist from the art. And, you know, when I first started watching mixed martial arts, I used to have like favorite fighters and whatnot. And, you know, as we all do, we tend to, you know, have our favorite fighter and then hate that person's rival or opponent. And I just feel like for you, especially if you do mixed martial arts yourself, in order for you to grow, you need to see the beauty in everybody's art. You might not like the artist, but you should see the beauty in their art, because if you are able to do that, you can potentially add some things from that person's art and, you know, add it to your arsenal. And obviously you can discard of the things you don't like. But when you just always see people, or you're always negative towards people that, you know, you don't necessarily, fighters that you don't necessarily like, you might not see what they're good at, which you could actually add to your arsenal. It might actually help you. So, you know, that's just something I think fans should, well, not necessarily fans, because fans are going to be fans, but if you're someone who is a fan and also takes part in mixed martial arts, then yeah, I would say it's important to be able to separate the artist from the art. And with that being said, a lot of you would have seen that the Nelk Boys linked up with Ilia Topuria recently. You know, they did a live stream and whatnot, did some sparring, went out to eat. And when they was out to eat, they was, you know, talking, and Ilia Topuria disclosed to them that he has a strategy that he uses going into every fight. And I'm not going to tell you what that strategy is. We're going to play the video and we're going to react to it. Obviously, I haven't seen the video. I've seen a tiny little clip on Instagram of this video. But what I will say is Ilia Topuria is a smart guy. And, you know, what this particular thing that I found out about him is another reason why it's going to separate him from the average fighters and put him in that elite category. Because the elite fighters do the things that the average fighters don't want to do. And they also do the things that average fighters wouldn't even think to do. They think outside the box, they go over and beyond. And that's what makes them the best fighters in the world. So with that being said, let's play this clip of Ilia Topuria speaking with the Nelk Boys, and we're going to see exactly what it is that he uses going into his fights.
To do, and this is what makes the difference. And you live where they go for vacations.
Yo, clip that. Yo, sick, clip it.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, when you called the Charles fight, I was like,
When I get the confirmation of the fight and I started watching his fights, I was like, we're gonna knock him out in the first round. There's no way he's gonna let
Everyone was saying that.
at least.
Every
I
fighter.
imagine taking a full punch.
I can't do that.
No, what I'm saying is every fighter always says, I'm gonna.
Bro, I can show you videos making the study of Charles, like with numbers.
We're all set. Stream's back.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We got it, boys. There we go.
Stream's back.
Look at this
We
one.
need a fucking Tesla car battery.
Look at like-
backpack going.
I want to watch this.
No,
I want
wait.
to see this. Fuck me, man.
Like
PC.
starting Charles.
Oh, that's what you guys study? Wait, what is this?
This is like how many low kicks he throws, how many low kick with the left, with the right, with the middle kick, da da da.
Wow, you might have to come see this. That's okay.
He's got a legit spreadsheet.
Or just show Show them quick, Ilia, that table chart. Just show it to them.
I literally just texted him.
So
So
Ilia,
obviously, guys, we can't see the chart. I'm trying to look, but yeah, we can't see the chart. I'm guessing it's because of the lighting. Because it's even like me when I'm trying to show you guys things sometimes because of my light that I actually use, you won't be able to see it. And I'm guessing these light have a portable LED light, so it's probably blocking that. But here he's talking about a table chart that he has, which shows how many leg kicks Charles, for example, it doesn't have to necessarily be Charles, but this specific chart that they're talking about was about Charles Oliveira. So obviously on that chart it has how many kicks he throws with his right leg, with his left leg, how many jabs he throws, how many 1-2s he throws, etc., etc. And all of these sort of things, I know there's more that he's going to add, but so far hearing that is very good, because at the end of the day, this is data. He's collected data. Him and his team have collected data about a specific fighter or specific fighters that they're going to fight, etc. And what people need to understand is, I know sometimes, as much as data is realistically 100% accurate, sometimes it's not 100% accurate. You know, you might have that 1% or 2 or 3% that, you know. But generally speaking, when it comes to these sort of situations, especially sports, data is never really wrong. So, you know, him collecting all this data and analyzing all this data can help him and his team come up with a game plan going into whatever fight it is that they're going to fight, because they can be like, okay, he likes to do this, I can do this to bait him into throwing that shot and then counter him, or I can stop him from doing that, this, etc., etc. But it definitely helps in building a game plan tailored to your opponent. It's very smart, and I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time I've heard of a fighter doing this. There probably is a few fighters out there that probably do this, but publicly coming out and saying that they do that, Ilia Topuria is the only person that I know of, and he's definitely the first fighter that I've seen to do this. It wouldn't surprise me if someone in boxing already does that, but MMA, yeah. But yeah, let's get back into the video anyways, because it's quite interesting already.
of every single strike he's
I have
thrown and how many
everything.
different ones there are.
Look,
How about for
look.
Islam?
You know those numbers by heart, don't you?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Salim has the same chart for Islam in his room.
Giuseppe.
Tanaka's saying my mic isn't working.
Let me go.
That's a dissection, man.
I want to show you our videos.
Dude, whoever makes these comments about the mic is just like,
Dude, I didn't know you like.
Stream's a little bit delayed for me, so just remember that.
Look at this, like he gives me the resume of all his fights, all the punches he throws, everything he does, and which place in the octagon he feels comfortable, like where he throws more punches, because we have like numbers, like for example, like the corner of the octagon is the number 1, the middle is the number 2, this place is the number 3. So we see in all his fights where's the number that he feels more comfortable. So I'm not gonna give you the chance to be there. I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna fight for that place.
So you see what Ilia is saying here? It goes back to what I was saying before we saw this part of the clip. Exactly what I said. So he finds out, he uses the data to see where his opponents throw, for example, where they feel comfortable in the octagon, where they might throw more punches. And essentially, they're going to take that away from you. Or they're going to make you have to fight to get to that position. Or they're going to bait you to going into that position and counter you. So, you know, it's very good collection of data, because it can definitely be used to create your game plan. And like I said, guys, this is what separates the best fighters in the world from the average fighters. They do the things that the average fighters don't do and the things that the average fighters don't want to do. And like I said, I don't think anybody in the UFC or generally speaking in fighting is doing this. And it's actually important because in every other sport, like football, the teams will have people that analyze data and collect data, and then they will use that to, you know, improve the standards of the club or the standards of the football that's played. So, you know, it's important, man. Shouts out to Ilia Topuria because, yes, I fuck with this, man. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's very smart. And like I said, it's going to separate him from a lot of these other fighters. And it makes sense why he is a champion.
I'm gonna put you in a place where you don't feel comfortable, where you don't know how to fight.
Does every fighter do that?
In every fight, we do that.
But does other fighters do that too?
I don't know any fighters doing
Fuck,
that.
you might have gave away a big secret.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's like, this guy, he told me, like, analytically, if we go to the numbers, there is no ways that he can beat you. There is no ways.
Percentages of success based off of.
Yeah, he's telling you, like, if you do this, and this, there's no way. Like, so in base of that, you make your training camp.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like I do my training camp and
You see exactly what I just said a minute ago. He can use the data to create his game plan in his training camp. So it's important, guys. It's actually very smart, man, honestly.
whatever. No, when I have a specific opponent, I have the analytics, and the first thing we think is like, I don't think about like I'm fighting whoever, Charles.
Yeah.
I think like we are the team of Charles,
Yeah.
and we are analyzing that with all the abilities that Charles has,
Right.
what we
What's
would
his weakest
do
point?
against Ilia.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
The first thing we think is like, what are the weaknesses that we see in Ilia?
Yeah, that's
like we
amazing.
analyze everything on from Charles' perspective.
I like
you
that.
know,
I
you
think
know
that's actually quite smart, you know, looking at your fighting style from another perspective, because then you actually, you know, you can potentially see your weaknesses. And how he just described it, you know why it's very important that you do that? Because if you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and see it from their perspective, you can potentially see the things you never would have seen. And going into a fight, you can actually counter a lot of stuff, or like I said, bait a lot of stuff. Because if you see it from the perspective, for example, Charles, if he sees his fighting style from the perspective of Charles, in his head he's going to be thinking, oh yeah, Charles probably thinks, yeah, he can do this, he can land that, I can do this, oh, I see that, I'm better than him at this. And all of these things are things you can add to create your game plan when you're in fight camp, and it just puts you steps ahead. Because when you've done all of these things that Ilia is doing, you can kind of call it like a checklist. You have your checklist, and as you're going through your training camp, you can tick that off, I've done this, I've done that. And you know, in a sport like MMA, yeah, like, I know obviously it's not always the hardest workers that win, but the hardest workers do predominantly win. But what I will say is, Ilia is not just working harder than everyone else, he's also working smarter. If you can combine working hard and bruv, the words are messing up in my head. If you can combine working hard and working smart, and you put the two together, you'll be levels ahead of everyone, man. Because it's one thing working hard, but not actually understanding on the level that Ilia is understanding. So, you know, shouts out to Ilia Topuria. Honestly, like, I don't see any... You see, with all the things he does and the way he trains, especially because he trains different martial arts, and then he puts it all together, added in with, you know, his fight IQ, and, you know, just everything tied to his fight, and the whole fuck's sake, my light just fucking died. But yeah, he is definitely one of the best fighters in the world right now, and he will continue to be one of the best fighters in the world right now. Guys, the video is basically done anyways. It's just funny how my light decided to die, even though it fucking had charge, and I charged it yesterday. But you know, this fucking light is just a piece of fucking shit. So you know, shouts out to Ilia Topuria, guys. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Hit the subscribe button, comment below. But yeah, make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. It's Big Yems in a bit, man.